a changing world order. It's not US-China specific.
No.
And there is a broader
But that's a
element to
major
that.
element.
There are other players and stakeholders.
Absolutely.
There are stakeholders like Europe itself. Russia is a stakeholder. We have to navigate towards their oil and their resources. And then there is the so-called Muslim world, but with its own character, and we are deeply inside it. We are deeply stuck in the Muslim world. So we have to negotiate that. The Saudis may put pressure upon us on behalf of the United States quite often. They might do that more. So we are in a kind of a wilderness. And how is the world order changing? The world order is changing, of course, in one respect. China and US are the dominant players. But the players that are not dominant are also very crucial to us. And Saudi is, alas, going to be very crucial to us. As long as we are dependent upon oil and oil imports and imported oil.
And a lot of Saudi soft power, if I may add.
India is going to be very important to us, and we haven't discussed India in the changing world order. Europe, because of several other reasons, but because of a very large diaspora, the so-called now voting rights holder, not yet, but I think it's becoming inevitable for any prime minister going abroad to Europe and to America will be confronted with this question by the community, our community itself. So that's a stakeholder. How is the world order changing and how has it changed? Over the last 30 years or 40 years, 30 years mainly, since GATT2, the world order has changed in a manner which has made China the net beneficiary and America and Europe the net losers, particularly America. Until GATT, there were restrictions of taking any technology, exporting any technology which the state had itself devised and which the state had devised and taking it out. With GATT, not only could technology be taken out, but the manufacture and production of goods could be taken out and then re-imported as manufactured items. And China became the manufacturing, outsourced manufacturing hub, in fact, the greatest production factory in the world over these periods, and all brands, all goods you buy, a Gucci bottle and somewhere inside it says made in China. You want a BMW, made in China. You want an iPhone, made in China. So this made in China has made China very powerful. And indeed it has. There is the Trumpish kind of reaction to this, that you've given all our jobs away and outsourced them to China. And his hostility towards China was not just the COVID, but he was actually aiming at this population, which had lost jobs and which was now dependent upon, and finding that any T-shirt that a man produced in America, or T-shirts have always, for a long time, not been produced in America. They're produced in Bangkok or Bangladesh. But any other machinery he bought was, which he was producing, was now made in China. And his job was in China. So there is this one shift where there is going to be these two elephants uh, trying to uh, topple each other over. And the Americans are going to put their worst thoughts and their worst efforts, the worst in the sense of not in efficiency, but worst in the sense of the moral values and gradation into, and there is going to be no holds barred. Now, where are we? There are about 30 states that actually took the benefit of this GATT kind of opening. China being the foremost, but Thailand, Bangladesh, Vietnam, you find them in these in your trousers, in your shirts made in Vietnam. Cambodia, Malaysia, Philippines, they all became and took the manufacturing part of American industry into their own hands. And America suffered, but they gained. We had an awesome kind of insurgency and instability. Socially, we were cutting each other's heads. We were bombing, us becoming bombed and bombing. Well, to say that America was responsible for it and Afghanistan was albatross around our necks that we had to live with is all a different part of the story. The part of the story is that America, it was biblical. It was biblical, I think, the flight of America, their flight in the sense of running away from Afghanistan. One day, God's people slept on one side of the Bagram airport, and the God's enemies slept on the other side, and God's people were fearing that the enemy would, enemy of God and these overarmed, muscular giants are going to beat the hell out of God's people. When they got up in the morning, God's people had disappeared. They just in one night disappeared and left completely. So this kind of a biblical story of Noah's flood or Abraha's sparrows, ये कोई अल्लाह की तरफ से कोई आई मदद अफगानिस्तान को कि अमेरिका रात ही रात में गायब हो गया. तो ये अफगानिस्तान हमारे साथ हमारे गले की घंटी, क्योंकि हमने इसमें बहुत इन्वेस्ट किया है और गलत इन्वेस्ट किया. 1980s हमने इसमें इन्वेस्ट किया, अपने आप को ही इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, अपने आप को ही लगा दिया, जान ही देने शुरू हो गए. सिर्फ पैसे नहीं, जान ही देने शुरू हो गए. तो ये एक मुश्किल रहेगी हमें, क्योंकि ये अफगानिस्तान मुश्किल रहेगा दुनिया के लिए भी और रीजन के लिए भी, और इंडिया भी इसमें पेनिट्रेट करके और इसको इस्तेमाल करने की कोशिश करता रहेगा. और हम क्या हैं, लास्ट वर्ड, वी when I think of Pakistan in a changing world order, I see us as a bullock cart with a huge barrel in it, which is our nuclear bomb, in the middle of Times Square. This is what we are.
Thank you, Aitzaz Ahsan. So that's our main negotiating point with the world. That, yeah, we might have all our problems, but we can cause problems too. Yes.
Nobody can touch us, they say. Nobody can touch us. We are a nuclear state. We are a nuclear state. मैंने जब ये न्यूक्लियर का we are a nuclear state, मैंने जब ये न्यूक्लियर का हुआ, इंडिया ने जब किया न्यूक्लियर ब्लास्ट, on 11th of May 1998. We responded on the 27th of May 1998, but in those 15 years, we had a debate in Parliament, and I was the leader of the opposition. And I said, I'm rethinking about it a bit, Taimur, what I said, because of Ukraine and Ukraine's exposure to easy Russian invasion. There's going to be no easy way out for the Russians. But I said कि न्यूक्लियर प्रोग्राम हमारा हमने बनाया इसलिए है कि इससे हमने पाकिस्तान की हिफाजत कर ली। अब ये ना हो जनाब स्पीकर कि हम पाकिस्तान को दाव पे लगा दें इसकी हिफाजत करते करते।
That's an interesting, it's always been a debate, and sometimes you specifically discussed that has the nuclear program or has the nuclear bomb, to be precise, actually made Pakistan more secure or less secure. So yeah, a lot of people talk about it.
Ukraine probably puts the naysayers like me on the wrong side, quite frankly.
Well, they were a nuclear power, and they actually gave up their nuclear program to the Russians in exchange for a security guarantee.
A little more complicated than that.
Okay.
A little more complicated. I mean, do we really want to go into...
Short, huh?
We don't want to go there right now.
Please, please. Oh, short, briefly.
No, it's a little more complicated than that. They had the missiles in the launch thing. They did not have the codes or the capabilities. And also bear in mind that the very fact of trying to maintain thousands and thousands of missiles would have been crippling. So, I mean, while I understand the larger point, I am a big fan of nuclear weapons, by the way. I think that everybody should have them. But the Ukraine thing necessarily was a slightly different situation.
What is a nuclear weapon without the codes and the ciphers?
You can't really launch it. So it wasn't really useful for them. That's my opinion.
To get back to the
That's
topic,
what I say.
navigation. I'll start off with Umar Khayyam, into the world not knowing whence. And cut it short by saying, out of this world not knowing why, like water willy-nilly flowing. That's Pakistan's foreign policy or Pakistan's standing. We had the benefit of Yalta, and we were coupled in India, and India was a powerhouse. So we were given respectability. This time round, in any conference that will be held, and you are awayed anew. Where is your economy? Zilch. What is your favorite pastime? Begging for money. What are you capable of handling? I don't think even your nuclear whatever has any standing. Nobody's bargaining for it because 60 uniforms have traded the secrets of it already to the Americans. So what are they going to be worried about? Have you noticed they're not even talking about it anymore? I think the thing to understand is, even today while we sit here and the Deputy Commissioner Matiari absconds with 12 billion rupees, what have any of you done about it? Nothing. So the abscondings are going on, the money transfers and flying is happening. Nobody is bothered of what's happening to the millions of people starving all over this province and other parts of the country. We haven't really given them any attention, and we don't even seek to. I mean, today, while all this is happening, we are going in to borrow more money. How are we going to pay it back? We won't. And as long as there's more money, there's going to be more inflation. So, mehengai to wo hogi, which you're importing yourself on your head.
Right.
Now, the question is this: what are we going to navigate it? Some of you think Saudi Arabia controls us. No. As long as the King of Saudi Arabia is around, it may not happen. But it is predicted that after a while, there will be fratricide within the Saudi royal family. So which side are you going to be on then? I think it's not a question of taking sides. It's just a question of being very nimble on our toes, how to get money into our hands to spend. Yet we don't seem to do anything that is progressively funded in
Right.
terms of economy and otherwise. I mean, still after 70 years, my friend Taimur speaks of the Mazdoor Kisan Party. Why? Because nothing has been effectively done. Others speak of other things. The question is, we have not delivered anywhere. The question
Right.
is, where are we going to be? You know, in America, when I was there 12 years ago, it was different. Now, the way you are thought of and treated, they made their alliances. Europeans, I don't say they're stakeholders in anything, forget it. The Europeans are basically yes sirs, no sirs to the Americans. That's all they're capable of doing because their economies and their economic plight is so severe. They can't, if it hadn't been for American ships carrying biogas across to Europe, you would have seen many countries perhaps breaking out of the deadlock against Russia. So these artificial means of keeping things going, but we are not included anywhere in any of this. And
Is that
believe me,
going to, you think that's going to change over time? I would like to open. I think one of the subjects you bring up is that
answer simple with one word: no.
No.
Because we have shown absolutely no inclination in trying to put together our own body.
I think
you know,
you're elaborating what, as Aitzaz uncle said, that at the end of the day we have to navigate not just US China but actually stand on our own feet and develop, like, even forget about the rich countries but Cambodia and Bangladesh and what they've done, and at the end of the day it's their economic spine that is.
बचपन से मैं यही सुन रहा हूँ
हैं? कि
बचपन से मैं यही सुन रहा हूँ
कि बांग्लादेश की तरह बन जाए हम?
नहीं कि we have to stand on our own feet. I mean, I think this is
we
a
haven't.
debate, this is a debate we've been having since 1947. I don't think anyone has an answer.
Yeah. And
Omer, I wanted to make another point. हम क्योंकि इलाकाई सियासत की बात कर रहे हैं, तो मेरा ख्याल है जब हमने यहाँ हम चीन की बात कर रहे हैं या और बैनुल-अक़वामी सियासत की बात करें, वहाँ इंडिया की बात बहुत ज़रूरी है.
बिल्कुल.
इंडिया की मईशत 7% से ग्रो कर रही है. इट इज़ रियली सस्टेन्ड, एब्सोल्युटली सस्टेन्ड लेवल पे 7% से ग्रो कर रही है. मगर हम उनसे दोस्ती करने के लिए इसलिए नहीं तैयार क्योंकि हमें उनकी हुकूमत पसंद नहीं, जो विच इज़ लेजिट. मगर दूसरा जो मेन मसला है वो ये है कि हम कहते हैं कश्मीर का मसला पहले हल करें, फिर हम आगे कोई बात करेंगे. अब फ़र्ज़ करें, आप ज़रा सोचें कि फ़र्ज़ करें कि हम कश्मीर को ये इस किस्म का वीटो ना बनाएं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिलेशंस विद इंडिया और हम इंडिया से दोस्ती करें. क्या पोटेंशियल है हमारे पास? सबसे पहले तो तुर्कमेनिस्तान, अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान, इंडिया टापी गैस पाइपलाइन अगर आप कंप्लीट करते हैं तो उससे तेल जो है आपके यहाँ से थ्रू ट्रैवल करेगा टू इंडिया. इंडिया इस वक्त तेल गजल कर रहा है रशिया से भी, हर जगह से. दूसरा, ईरान पाकिस्तान इंडिया पाइपलाइन कंप्लीट करें. अगर वो हम कंप्लीट करते हैं, अगेन आपकी अपनी ऑयल डिपेंडेंसी भी कम होती है और आप इंडिया से भी रेवेन्यू कमाते हैं फॉर ट्रांसफरिंग. लास्ट बट सर्टनली नॉट लीस्ट, आईपीपी का मसला जिससे बिजली का सारा मसला पैदा हुआ, सर्कुलर डेट का मसला हुआ, वो सारा प्रोजेक्ट ही तब कामयाब होता अगर आप इंडिया को अपनी बिजली बेच सकते हैं, जो कि वीटो हो गया कश्मीर की वजह से. तो आपके पास एक्सेस कैपेसिटी जो है वो आप इस्तेमाल ही नहीं कर सके थ्रू आउट द 90s जो आईपीपी की वजह से पैदा हुई. उलट आपको इतना महंगा बिल उठाना पड़ा जो आप उठा ही नहीं सकते थे. सो देयर आर सेवरल प्रॉब्लम्स दैट वी सॉल्व. अगर हम अपने दिमाग से ये बात निकाल दें कि हमने कश्मीर फतह करना है और हम अपने दिमाग में ये बात डाल दें कि इंडिया में जैसी मर्जी हुकूमत हो, अपने मफाद के लिए, मुआशी और सियासी मफाद के लिए हमें उनके साथ तिजारत खोलने की जरूरत है. बहुत शुक्रिया.
there is no doubt a big peace dividend.
Does India want peace though? Yeah,
Does
the
India?
question. I don't think so, because currently India is under the control of a fascistly genocidal theocrat. The other day, Amit Shah actually said that the Gujarat riots, in which thousands of people were killed, was teaching a lesson to wrongdoers. I'm not talking about obscure policy platforms. I'm talking about a line that is parroted by each and every single member, not just of the Indian government, but of the Indian state. I think that, as unpopular a view as this may be, I think that several olive branches have been offered and all of them have been rebuffed. And the fact of the matter is that India does not need to make peace with you. Enmity with Pakistan is domestically incredibly popular. It serves as a proxy for when they want to marginalize and abuse their own Muslim population. Enmity with Pakistan serves too many Indian interests at this point in time. And as far as Kashmir goes, I think we have already